That's not the mayor. Well, the mayor is under the weather, and we'll get a report from his doctor. And thankfully, so our ratings don't totally tank, Dr. Maria Ryan, host of the Dr. Maria Show on Lindell TV, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, is joining me tonight. And Doctor, thank you very much.
Ted, it's great to do a show with you. It really is. I hear you and the mayor do the show. It was, I think, your idea how it all started. And I like the back and forth between you two. So I'm really looking forward tonight.
Well, thank you so much. And thanks for joining on such short notice. Maybe do you want to share a few words about the mayor? We know he's going to be okay, but figured you might want to say a few words for our audience.
Yeah, and I do want to clarify, I am Dr. Maria Ryan, and I am a board certified nurse practitioner. People often get confused with that title. They say, oh, you're a nurse. I was once a nurse. A nurse practitioner is a medical provider. We are board certified. We have medical licenses, and I'm able to do what a doctor can do, except surgery. You don't have nurse practitioners doing surgery. But anyways, with that explanation, oh, and by the way, why people call me doctor is because I have a PhD in healthcare administration. But the mayor has been a little under the weather for the last day or so. He's been traveling extensively. You know, everybody wants the mayor to give speeches, to analyze their business. So he's been in Europe, and sometimes with that travel, you catch things. So he had a little bit of a sore throat, a cough, but tonight he's experiencing a very high fever. I did fly down and I've treated him, and he is going to be fine, but he needs to rest. He really does. You know how the mayor is. Like, this show means a lot to him. He never misses it. I don't care if he hasn't slept for days.
Right.
He never misses it.
Right. And we needed his doctor down here to convince him to take the night off, because as you all know, he doesn't like to do that. Tonight is episode 919.
Ooh.
So yeah, we're getting close, doctor, to that 4-digit mark, episode 1000. I think that's coming up sometime in August. So
we should celebrate somehow.
We got to do something for
Balloons
that, right?
Or something. I don't know. Maybe a live show with a live audience somewhere.
Another live show with a live audience, and that'll be during the summer.
While you guys are in New Hampshire?
I believe it will. You know, we talked about doing it last year. That's your home state, of course. I tried so hard to get the doctor to run for office there. Not just me, by the way, not just me. There's been a groundswell of support, but of course she is very busy with family, a top-rated show, and running the mayor's company. So very, very busy. But we know there's some big races happening, and not just in New Hampshire, but of course across the country. And I thought maybe tonight we'd talk about some of them.
I think that's a good idea, Ted. You know, our candidates, conservative candidates, don't get the media time or the coverage as other candidates. And this left-wing ideology is sweeping our nation. It's just crazy to me how New Yorkers could vote for someone like Mom Donnie. It's just, I met the most normal people. I worked 4 years in New York City at a radio station. Actually, I had a hit show with Mayor Giuliani. And I would walk around and I saw the decline of that city, and good people were upset. I didn't think they would let anybody in who could make it worse, and they did. So it's so important we don't have voter apathy, and we promote good candidates, ones that won't go to a uni party, that they really will stick up for we the people.
That's right. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of these races, but I really tonight wanted to start off with Iran. And we know Dr. Maria and the mayor were recently over in Paris, France, meeting with the most prominent opposition group that's challenging this regime, MEK. Both the mayor and Dr. Maria have been involved with this group for a number of years now. And we're going to talk a little bit about what they saw and what they talked about in Paris. But first, let's go over kind of what the president did today. He spoke from the Oval Office, and let's hear some of the president's words. This in relation to the ongoing conflict. We'll call them negotiations with the Islamic Republic.
We can fly right over the middle of Tehran without being shot at because they have no anti-aircraft. They have nothing. And they're reading that they're winning the war. They're trying to figure it out. They get the New York Times, I guess, in some form. And they think we're crazy. But you know, I'm supposed to be negotiating, and they make you negotiate from weakness, not strength. But the difference is I don't care. And everybody knows the facts. We are decimating that country. I got a call today from another country that's more on our side than that Middle Eastern country, saying, sir, please don't hit them anymore. They're decimated. Please. He's actually helping them. He's actually saying, please. And yet the New York Times will tell you that they're winning the war. It's so sad. I hate to even say that because when I say that, people out watching, they'll say, oh, maybe they'll win the war just by the fact that I'm saying it. And it's so ridiculous.
So that was the president today from the Oval Office voicing his frustration with how some Western media outlets have been covering this conflict. And of course, he makes a good point, doesn't he, in regards to how our own outlets here in the United States are covering this fight. Now, the latest we're hearing, of course, the president on Thursday signaled that he would hear from U.S. military leaders about potential military options for Iran. The president has signaled he's willing to move in on some quick and fast options to try and get them back to the negotiating table. In regards to the Strait of Hormuz, the strait remains effectively closed. Even as the price of oil continues to jump, that as of today, it does remain effectively closed. And out of Tehran, the supreme leader, who we haven't heard from, we're not sure quite exactly what his condition is, has remained defiant and basically told us that the United States and their only place in the Middle East is at the bottom of the Persian Gulf. Is that right, Dr. Maria? I think I may have paraphrased a little bit there.
No, you're right. And that is a threat. So it's very interesting. You mentioned that the mayor and I were recently at the national headquarters for the National Council on the Resistance of Iran. And we get hired every year to give speeches there. And it's just interesting. They have incredible intel from within Iran. We hear some of the media say there's nobody going to resist from within. No, no, no. They are doing that from within. They give us intel all the time. Back in 2002, Ali Reza, who you know, who's been on the mayor's show several times, told the world about the nuclear plants and where they were. So they're really good about getting information out. I saw videos that were smuggled out of Iranian prisons way before, I think, anybody in the State Department. And I would graciously sit down with anybody in the State Department, the President of the United States, as well as Mayor Giuliani would, because we have information. Like, for instance, the new Supreme Leader is so afraid, obviously. He doesn't want a computer. He doesn't want anything tracked. He was injured in an attack, so he needs plastic surgery. He does have some facial injuries, but he also had a really bad leg injury, and some are saying he may have had an amputation. I'm not quite sure, but he is hiding and he is afraid.
That's right, Doctor. And of course, that's what makes it so interesting, right? As we hear, there's been a lot of consternation internally among the Iranian leadership, a lot of internal fighting over just how to negotiate with the United States. We hear about this internal rift between the IRGC military commanders and some of the civilian leadership. Now, what we know is that these ongoing rifts, that's nothing new, right? These groups have consistently disagreed on things, have fought internally, not uncommon with any government, right? However, with the Ayatollah who is now dead, the last Ayatollah, he was in a strong position to be the ultimate arbiter, right? And so he would make the final call as these different groups fought amongst each other. And so what we're hearing now with the Ayatollah that we don't know what condition he's in. Maybe the Mossad, CIA have a better understanding than we do. So this ongoing fighting, right, continues. But now we're hearing that the IRGC is winning out, which wouldn't come as a surprise. And you've been following this issue for years, Doctor. That doesn't surprise you, right? That the military arm would win those fights.
They have all the weapons. And what the Ayatollah did, so the supreme leader, you got him, you have a president who's really just a figurehead. But the mullahs, or some people call them the clerics, they had a lot of say too. They're religious fanatics. They're the ones that really oppress the women, but the supreme leader goes along with it. But they gave a lot of power to the IRGC and they made them wealthy. So they are anti-drugs out in public, and they'll probably, sentence you to death if you're caught with any drugs, or if you're dealing drugs.
Right.
But they allow the IRGC to deal in drugs. They have very good homes, very good quality of life. They're very, very rich. So that's why they're holding on so dearly. They do not want their lifestyle to change. They have the wealth.
Right. And the weapons. And maybe more importantly, right, the weapons. Yes. And so we'll see as the days progress. The president seems to be attempting to get them back to the negotiating table. Of course, Iran remains defiant. The latest from, we say it's from the Ayatollah. Chances are the IRGC is writing these things and putting them out under his name. They seem to be digging in. And at this point, it doesn't appear, Doctor, unless you've heard otherwise, that they're willing to negotiate on the nuclear issue.
I don't think they will. Or if they do, it's going to be a lie. Under Obama's agreement with them, it was all a sham. As a matter of fact, the NCRI, the National Council of Resistance of Iran, pre-2018 kept telling the world, hey, they're telling you that they don't have stockpiles of uranium, but they do. It was Ali Reza who told the world about Natanz, or if I am pronouncing that correctly. So in Obama did what Biden did, an appeasement policy with Iran. So they just turned a blind eye. They had plenty of intel that they were storing uranium. They wouldn't let inspectors in, but they kept, President Obama would tell the world, hey, we got this great peace agreement. We got this agreement. They're not going to proliferate, but they were doing it right under his nose. So I don't trust a single word they say.
That's right. So look, we'll be following this closely. With everything else in the news, we've gotten a little bit away from Iran on this show this week, but of course that remains at the top of a lot of folks' minds as we continue with that conflict. So Dr. Maria, we want to switch over to something in the health and wellness space, we'll call it. The president today pulled the nomination of Dr. Casey Means for Surgeon General, which to some came as a surprise, to others, not so much. Now he's announced this new nominee, Dr. Nicole Saphier. Which puts an end to months of speculation about whether or not Dr. Casey Means would be confirmed. What can you tell us about this situation with the Surgeon General, Dr. Casey Means, and now moving over to Dr. Nicole Saphier?
So Casey Means is what's called a healthcare influencer. She literally has never practiced medicine. She did graduate from a medical school, but never went on for a residency. So therefore never practiced, never became board certified. So instead moved into a wellness space. She's worked with her brother, Callie Means, who's a lobbyist. I think he's an advisor still in the Trump administration. But she was controversial from the very beginning. There was allegations, and they were made on my show by a doctor, about Casey Means and her companies, that the reviews were fake, that the money into her companies was foreign money. These are allegations. I have no knowledge whether they're true or not. I just know she was extremely controversial in the MAHA movement. A lot of people thought, oh my God, she's saying everything Robert Kennedy is saying, and he seems to like her, so she's good. And then others would say she's going to ruin this MAHA movement because of shady business deals and the fact she is not a licensed physician. Now, I don't believe the position even calls for that, believe it or not. Kind of like the attorney general doesn't call for a
lawyer.
legal license.
Right.
But it's been traditionally a physician. I would have really liked to see a nurse practitioner. And I'm not saying me, but more people are taken care of in primary care by nurse practitioners than by physicians. The numbers are staggering. So it'd be nice if nurse practitioners were recognized. I have no issue with Nicole Saphier. I've seen her on Fox. Seems like a lovely woman. She is a radiologist. So those of you who are saying, well, what is that?
Yeah.
She is a doctor who will, so say your doctor wants you to have a chest x-ray because they are afraid you have pneumonia. It would be like a Dr. Nicole Saphier in the background who's interpreting your chest x-ray. So that's what she does. She interprets things. I do not believe she's an interventional radiologist. If she was, she would have direct patient contact, but I believe she's a radiologist, so she's kind of behind the scenes. Like I said, seems like a lovely woman. So we'll see where it goes. I think she'll be confirmed. I don't think there's any controversy around her. Remember, it was another Fox contributor that President Trump first nominated.
That's right.
Yes.
Dr. Jeanette
Neshwa.
Yeah, yes.
Who again seems like a lovely lady, but here was the rub with her, and the MAHA people went crazy when he announced her because she, during the pandemic, kept saying, go get a vaccine. Go get the COVID mRNA injection. And that mRNA injection, as we know, can be lethal, can be debilitating. It should have never been on the market. We should never have given it to anybody under 65. More athletes have died for sudden death syndrome from it. There's turbo cancers now. There's a whole slew of things. So Jeanette didn't get far at all, but Nicole has a different personality. So I think it'll go much more smoothly. You know, Republicans were against Casey Means. That's how it got all tied up.
That's right, doctor. And what we know about Dr. Saphier, she's listed as the director.
Oh, that's a lovely picture of her.
Of the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center and spent a time as a radiologist and director of breast imaging at a facility in Monmouth County, New Jersey. And Dr. Maria, can you tell us briefly what is the role of the United States Surgeon General? You know, we see the label, right? Everyone knows the label from the cigarette packets. I'm not sure if they're still on there, right? Surgeon General's
yes,
warning.
I think they are still on there, but I did smoke cigarettes way long ago when
Who didn't?
Yeah, I know. No one thought there was anything wrong with
everybody,
it. They hid the information.
They were smoking in the hospitals, right?
Yes, you're right. I'll never forget. Nurses, doctors, everybody smoked at the nurses station. It was incredible. But the Surgeon General in some ways is a figurehead, but it's supposed to advance policy, good health care policy. We had one Surgeon General, it could have been under President Clinton, that even went into the space of saying, you know, there's too much gun violence, so maybe we should have rubber bullets. I forget her name. So some have really gone out of their space. Others, I would like to see Dr. Saphier really get into nutrition. The American diet is so full of processed foods, and it's killing us. It really is. Metabolic disease, chronic diseases, we're one of the worst ones in industrialized countries. and we eat way too much processed food. That whole food pyramid
Right.
was meant to kill us, not meant to keep us healthy. So all that has been blown up, but we really need research around these vaccines. Providers like me have trusted the CDC and the FDA for far too long. To learn now that many of the childhood vaccines were never vetted and never had the proper research blows my mind. It just
Wow.
blows my mind. So it's contributed to such a lack of trust that I'm hoping Dr. Sapphire, because she's got this really pleasant, non-antagonistic demeanor,
Right.
hopefully we can build some trust, and she'll not be afraid of people saying, well, you're an anti-vaxxer, or you're this, or you're that she strictly stays with good research.
Right. Right. Wow, that's a great breakdown. A great night to have Dr. Maria with all of this news coming out of HHS and with the change at the Surgeon General position. Again, this I guess this would be the third name that we have. So have we gone the last year without a Surgeon General? Have we had an interim? How does that work?
We're
Going to look that up during the break here. Yeah, Stephen,
that's
if you got to, Stephen, you got to answer for us. We'll bring you on. Well, let's pay the bills, doctor. Let's take a short break. And we will be right back.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month.
Wow.
Including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're gonna go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Wow, get that. You got to get some of that coffee today. I know Dr. Maria is drinking that every single day. I think she gives it to her family. The adults only, though. When I was a kid, my parents didn't let me drink coffee, and I think that was a good. They used to say it stunted your growth. What say you, doctor?
Well, coffee's had a lot of research on it, and for years the research has been a couple cups of coffee a day is actually good for you. So we'll see. It changes all the time. It'll say moderate coffee.
Did you ever
but
hear that as a kid?
I have heard it, but
Stunt your
my
growth.
mother, being all Italian,
Yeah.
I had coffee since I was a child.
Oh,
And get this, I was the generation, you won't even know what this is, Ted. She would put saccharin in my coffee. Saccharin has been taken off the market for causing cancer.
oh my gosh.
It was a carcinogen agent, but at my time growing up, it was on the market. It was a little white tablet, and instead of sugar, you would have a saccharin tablet to make it
sweet.
sweeter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm big on the sugar and cream and sugar and coffee. I believe you and the mayor like it.
Black.
'cause
And I
black
have to
is-
say, Ted, we briefly talked in the commercial. This is really good coffee. And please do me a favor to help the mayor out. Go to rudy.coffee and order some. I'm telling you, you won't. I really believe in this product.
Right.
It is, like he said in the commercial, it's from small family farms, high in the mountains. So no need for pesticides, all Arabica. It literally is the best coffee. We had business in Italy and we went to see Giorgia Meloni,
Yeah.
the prime minister there. And you don't want to insult an Italian saying, oh, my American coffee.
Yeah.
Of course, it comes from Honduras, Guatemala. But anyways, we package it in here and,
Right.
and roast it in
Right.
America.
Right.
But I wanted her to try it so bad that I flew some over there because Italy, only in the United States we sell Rudy coffee. But they loved it. They absolutely loved it.
Wow. Well, that's great. And you're not only drinking good coffee, but you're supporting everything the mayor's doing right here on America's Mayor Live. And we got one more for you. Did you know that you can build an entire online business with Sticker Mule Pro? And we got the website right up on the screen, stickermule.com/pro. And it's only $9 a month. And it comes with everything you need to sell patriotic merch online. You get an e-commerce store. You get email marketing. You get SMS marketing. That's text messaging. And you get a customer service platform and so much more. And this is just for $9 a month. And if you sign up today at stickermule.com/pro, and it's up there on the website, use the promo code Rudy. That's RUDY. And you'll get the first 3 months free. Give this a shot. Try it out. Even if you aren't thinking about starting your own business, this is the future. So it's worth at least trying out, right? And if you use the promo code Rudy, you get 3 months of it for free, for nothing. So try it out. I think you might find it interesting, and it's for a lot more than just starting an online business. So check it out. Go over to stickermule.com/pro. Use that promo code Rudy, RUDY, and sign up today. I mean, boy, it's so much fun, right? With a lot of this merch, the stickers, everything you can do with it. You'll have fun with it. So it's worth checking out. And again, by doing that, you're not only supporting a patriotic business, but you're supporting the mayor and everything he's doing right here on America's Mayor Live. Well, Doctor, of course, we talked earlier about the oncoming elections. It's going to be quite the midterm election season. All the talking heads and prognosticators like to tell us, oh, the Republicans are cruising for a bruising. Of course, history to that in terms of some of the candidates, some of the races. When a president wins the office, the party, a certain party wins the presidency, the opposing party usually does well in the next cycle. With that being said, as we follow some of these races, Doctor, do you see an opening for Republicans despite all the negative conversations we're hearing around these elections?
I think if we get smart, Ted, I do get upset with the GOP. I sometimes think they sit on the laurels and think that, oh, everybody knows we're the party of the working people. No, the left own the mainstream media. They don't always know. And we need to be really out there on social media. TikTok, I've never been on TikTok, but I'm telling you, we need to be on TikTok, Instagram, Truth, X. We need to be doing town halls. People need to see who we are and what we stand for. And you need to contrast it. Most people do not understand that the Democrats were the party of slavery. They were the party of the KKK.
Right.
And they continued after the Civil War to work against civil rights, even civil rights legislation. Democrats today like to steal that as their own. It took Republicans to pass it. And we were always the people of the working man. Look at President Trump right now.
Right.
In Trump RX, I have several patients that if I need to start them on the meds, the first thing I do is go and look at Trump RX to see if they can get it cheaper.
Right.
He's also with these investment opportunities for babies. We need to get our birth rate up. We really, really do. So we don't depend on foreign labor and we can sustain ourselves as a country. So we need to get that birth rate up. And right now, people are saying, oh, I don't want to have a baby. It's too expensive. I don't know what the world will be like.
Right.
Well, we need to teach kids how to invest, how to save money. In America, our kids, even adults, will say, oh, we're barely getting by, but they have $150 sneakers. They're going to good schools. They have a car. Like, they don't understand what it's like to work hard. We got to get them back. And it's going to take parents to get them back, where we don't give them every single thing and make them earn. But anyways, I'm getting on a soapbox now,
No.
Ted.
Gotta hear it. Gotta hear it.
As a Nona, I have a
so my
position
parents-
of
yes.
honor in my family, which is a Nona. It's grandmother. And I want to be everybody's grandmother, by the way. But we really do need to get the message out.
You
Now,
are America's Nona. You really are.
Ted, you have much more experience than I ever will when it comes to running campaigns. You've been advisors on many GOP campaigns. What are your thoughts?
Look, as we talked about, right? We hear from the naysayers. I think it really does come down to, of course, the economy but with specific races, right, Doctor, it really can come down to the candidate that you have. If you put up bad candidates, you don't expect to win, right? And in certain situations, yes, there's some truth to the fact that the opposing party, right, that's outside of the White House tends to be more fired up and engaged, where some Trump voters, they're happy to see the president in that White House every day. We see him on TV doing the press conferences. He's always there. And so they're not as motivated to come out and vote come November. I tend to agree with you, right? If we're focused on the right issues and with the way the Democrat Party has totally gone off the rails on a number of things, I think there is an opportunity for Republicans in some places to hold their own and to be successful. On that note, let's bring on, I wonder if she voted. She may have voted last time. Might have been her first time voting. And we'll bring on Mickey, and then we have Steven standing by. We'll bring Steven on here in a few minutes. But we're going to start with Mickey Mohammadi, a friend of the show. There she is. How are we doing?
Voting, by the way.
Second.
This will be your second time voting. So
Yay, Nikki.
there we go, Mickey. But of course, we want to check in with Mickey. She's a JD candidate and a volunteer with the Organization on Iranian Communities. So maybe we'll start out there, Mickey. What are your thoughts as an Iranian American? You heard the president today. You've been following things closely. Do you feel we are any closer to, well, we'll ask two questions here. Do you feel we're any closer to progress? And number two, how realistic is regime change at this juncture?
Yes. Obviously, this is a topic very near and dear to my heart. So I am always going to be a big proponent of regime change. I obviously do believe that needs to be facilitated by the Iranian people. I think as of right now, if we were to pull out, first of all, I want to give thanks to our troops. They are doing amazing and they deserve the credit for that, for the sacrifices they make every day for this country. And it comes down to, if we were to pull out right now, I don't know if, and without regime change, I don't know if I would consider that a success because and a lot of the people, especially the Iranian America diaspora, want regime change. And we believe we're so close to it. We just need to hold out a little longer.
And Mickey, among the Iranian American community, and maybe let's focus on all ages. Of course, you're probably closer tied into it. The younger generation, where are they on this? Are they still confident we can get this done? Are they supportive of the president's actions thus far? You can't speak for the whole community, but what are you hearing from within and how they feel things are going?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people share the same sentiment I just shared with you. Not only the young generation, but also the political prisoners that came from Iran to America. They're extremely proponents of regime change, and they support what President Trump is doing. And even the people inside of Iran support what President Trump is doing. And it really just comes down to continuing the pressure and ensuring that Iran not only doesn't develop a nuclear weapon, but cannot continue its reign of terror through its proxies all over the Middle East.
And Mickey, kind of shifting gears here more domestically, of course, you reside in the state of the Commonwealth, right? The Commonwealth of Virginia. And we saw recently their redistricting plans, and the courts have, I believe it's currently facing an injunction as they review it further. What are young people? How are young people reacting? Would you say your friends reacting to this, and do they see this as unfair and maybe anti-democratic? Where are they on this whole redistricting issue?
Yeah, this is I love that you bring this up, because this was something I was just discussing with one of my peers at my law school, and my school is a little bit more on the liberal side, so it was interesting to hear their justification for essentially illegal gerrymandering. And they said that they did it in Texas and they did it in Florida, so it was only right to do it in Virginia. The only problem with that is that two wrongs don't make a right, and it doesn't make sense to do the same thing that you claim is wrong and illegal. And that's being challenged in the courts right now, and I think it's going to be pretty successful because it is on its face gerrymandering. And Abigail Spanberger, whatever you say it, I
like yours. I like your name better.
Yeah, I think that's more fitting because she is such a interesting character in politics, especially for Virginians. She actually is pushing a bill right now that's awaiting her signature to essentially exempt congressional members from gun laws. And I don't know, that the irony in all of this really speaks for itself.
That's right. And we have Dr. Maria here with us as well. And Dr. Maria was recently in Paris with a number of folks, a number of, opposition groups, of course, MEK, Madame Rajavi. And the doctor gave a speech. We want to bring some of that up. But, we have two, both the mayor, of course, Mayor Giuliani went over there too. They both gave speeches. We want to play some of that, which we will do. But Dr. Maria, what was your experience, especially with the younger generation? I guess in Europe, the Iranian Europeans, what are we going to call them? The Iranian diaspora in Europe. And what did you notice about them? And of course, your interactions, Mickey, of course, and others here. What impresses you, or what stands out to you about the young Iranian American and the young community outside of Iran?
The theme was prevalent through all ages. They want freedom, they want individual liberty, and they want Iranians to do it themselves. Maybe getting a little help, but they really want to lead the charge. One of the things, especially the older generations, wanted me to know that life wasn't pure under a monarchy, under the Shah. I met a woman in her 90s. She was a freedom fighter. Her son, way back under the Shah, talked about having free elections and have the people vote for who they want. And he was imprisoned. They had what was called the Savak police. They were brutal. They were like the SS. They had firing squads. So she lost 4 children under the Shah just for talking about having individual liberty and free elections. And she lost an additional 4 under the evil regime of the supreme leader, the Ayatollah. So this woman said, you know what? We don't want a monarchy, nor do we want a theocracy like the Ayatollah. We want freedom like America. And that's why she gravitated to Maryam Rajavi with the MEK. They've been fighting since back under the Shah for the people to decide who will run for Iran. So it was pretty prevalent. That was a great question amongst all age groups there.
That's right. And so, Mickey, we just got a couple more minutes here with you. What do you give us your thoughts on what may happen here in the days and months ahead, specifically if you can speak to what you're hearing from any sources inside the country. Is regime change still possible? What is the likelihood? Of course, you can never predict these sorts of things. But where do you think we're at in terms of making that a reality?
Yeah. First of all, Dr. Muir, it's so good to see you again. And I love that response because it really captures the sentiment within the Iranian people, particularly the prisoners of war, many of whom the MEK is made up of. All of those people, the people who started MEK, were prisoners of war. And I mean, let's not ignore the elephant in the room. There is a lot of people inside of Iran that have a bad connotation to the MEK, and the only reason for that is 40 years of perpetuated propaganda aimed at destroying and silencing this voice that only wants a simple democracy, the same one that was the principles America was founded on. And unfortunately, we have seen a whole new level of misinformation and propaganda recently. And it's also unfortunate because it's not easily noticeable. Let me give you an example. There is a lot of these Lego animation videos, basically created by the Iranian regime and slandering American politicians, Trump, Hegseth, whatever it may be. And the only problem with these videos is that and the comments are full of people like, haha, Iran, we're on Iran's side, or, free Iran. And it's creating this cycle of misinformation that kind of aids the Iranian regime and makes me a little bit worried for regime change being sustainable. So calling that out is really important. I'm always first to be like, that's propaganda. Don't be fooled by it. There was even another video of a little girl who liked a pink missile. And so the IRGC manufactured a pink missile, and the internet loved that. And it's just it's like a new form. So it's like, for the regular person, they can't recognize it right off the bat. And it's easier for people to fall into that. So if we can tackle that misinformation inside America, then I think regime change is more sustainable, but also more achievable, and anything is possible, obviously. So my hopes are always high.
Well, that's good. Well, we appreciate you always coming on, Mickey. How's school going? Are you studying hard?
Yes, I have a final tomorrow. So
all right. Well, let's wrap this up. You get back to hitting the books, but we'll check in, and we, of course, always appreciate having you on.
Thank you for having me.
Wow, isn't she? She is sharp and
oh my gosh, so
smart
nice
as
to
a
see
whip.
a young person who understands the propaganda coming out of Tehran.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Poor MEK, because they're so afraid of MEK. They've had, she's right, 47 years of propaganda, including our own government, right? We kneeled, President Clinton kneeled to Tehran and said, okay, well, I'm going to put them on the terrorist list. They didn't even meet the criteria.
Right.
Unbelievably, under Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, she of course, she was taken to court, and, they had to be taken off the terrorist list. But it is all propaganda.
That's right. And it is refreshing to hear whenever a young person, is able to recognize that.
So in tune.
but I was referring to you, Dr. Maria,
Oh,
a young person.
me, a young person?
Both you and Mickey, two young people who understand what's going on. Well, let's quickly shift topics here. We want to bring on another regular, a good friend of the show. He helps us out on a regular basis, and he's all dressed up to the nines tonight, so we can't go without bringing him on. The one and only Steven Schumacher.
Hey, Steven.
So we want to check in with Steven. He's got his lapel pin, which I do not have today.
Wow.
Show me up a little bit there.
Yeah, well, you're only producing the show. You can't do wardrobe at the same time. Right?
Oh my God, he's running around, Steven, like doing 3 jobs, doing lighting, doing the cameras, and
we're having fun though. We're having fun over here.
I'll say the same thing about Mickey though, in that wow, she has a final exam in law school tomorrow, yet she's giving enough of her time.
Well, I wouldn't have let her on if I knew that. I would not have let her on, but we know she's prepared, and chances are she's not cramming last minute like some of us used to do. But yeah, how refreshing, right? To hear from Mickey and our younger generation. I say younger, Steven, because we are young ourselves, as well as the doctor. We don't want to.
I got some grays coming in here, though. You can.
Oh wow, you and Anderson Cooper, right? With the silver fox, the gray hairs early. The gray hairs early.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I agree with you, Steven. What's going on in Michigan for candidates?
Well, in Michigan, we have an interesting. Well, we just had a poll come out for our governor's race, and that's where we have an interesting situation in which we have a 3-way race with a real independent challenger with Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan, and we're going to see that might actually be. You were looking for some optimism heading into 2026, and that is like a beacon of optimism because just the way the dynamics are. Maybe Michigan's a purple state; it'd be very difficult to win head to head, but Detroit, where, I can kind of remind our audience, a lot of votes are, in addition to our cars, a lot of votes are manufactured in Detroit. And with a Detroit mayor running, sucking votes, taking that machine away from the Democrat, it really leaves a lane for us to win, even in a climate where, the pundits say that we're at a disadvantage. And I feel a little bit of that in the weather, so to speak. Right. But we also have a number of congressional races too that are important.
We do, and generally speaking, Stephen, of course, we're both from the state of Michigan. We can speak to this, home of Dearborn and a large Muslim community. The president made some inroads, right? The Muslim community tends to be a little more conservative. We pushed hard there. You were very involved in that campaign.
Anti-woke.
But of course, now we see the Democrat Party nominate a few folks. The kindest things we can say about them is that they are extremely anti-Israel. I'm careful not to throw out the anti-Semitic word just to anybody, right? Because you're allowed to criticize without being considered somebody who's hated.
No, and I don't use it lightly either. But no, there's some blatant anti-Semites that are making a lot of.
Right. What do you make of that? What do you make of that in the state of Michigan, where I feel like more so than maybe elsewhere on the Democrat side, the rise in anti-Semitism and the rise of some of these further left candidates? I mean, look, we have Mamdani that won in New York. In Michigan, we have a Senate I keep getting it mixed up. Right?
I think you're talking about Abdul Al-Sayed. If you're right, is that right?
Right. So what do you make of this?
Well, what's important to know is that it's not just us saying it, right? So like a number of Michigan representatives from state rep to congressman in the Democratic Party have been very vocal, Noah Arbit being one of them. And we don't need to bog people down with the details like who these state legislators are, but like Jewish members of the Michigan legislature are coming
Democrats.
Democrats are saying, I don't know if I have a place in our modern party, evaluate the candidates on the merit. And so there is a distancing. And then if you go to places like Franklin and Southfield and other areas, it's palpable, right? Like you can tell that there's especially after the recent endorsement convention, Democrats just held a massive rally where, and I don't use the term anti-Semitism lightly, but there was quite a bit of it on display at their rally recently or at their convention. And I think it is going to suck people away it already is sucking people away.
Right.
And
And of course,
I guess
Stephen,
we'll see, right? We'll see. It keeps evolving.
so of course you're down here in Florida now. You're not too far from the Villages. The president will be there
Yeah,
tomorrow. We got to talk to you about maybe
I
getting
thought
you
that
access.
was a fake ad. They're still saying there's tickets available.
I bet there is. I mean, the Villages, it's a big place,
It
right?
is.
Wait. Are we in the process of being like scammed right now, Ted? Are you about to like
Oh, like
sign
it's
us up for something?
well, no, check it out. But why is that surprising? I mean, the Villages, right? It's an
No,
older
it's
community.
not.
It's big.
It's
It's
not.
thousands of voters. I'm
I
not.
was with you, Steve, and I thought the president going to the Villages. This kid is going to
Well-
be fake.
Well, no.
These
I
are
think it's
thousands and
wise.
thousands of
think it's
voters, right? I don't
smart move.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. I just thought it was.
Yeah. No, I think that's something that, for Florida politics, right? Let's see when the Florida primary is. Because that'll tell us, right? That'll tell us. Primary is August 18th. Does that sound right? So Florida, the primary is not till August. So I guess I'm a little bit.
Because there's a lot.
Oh
happening.
gosh, I feel
What?
bad for those guys. I mean, all of them running in the primary, right?
Well, you know who likes keeping those late primaries are consultants, right? I mean, if you're a Republican consultant, right? And you got what's better for business? 5 people running until August, or deciding on one person by April, right?
Or if
Then
you
you go
own,
May,
if you
June,
own,
July, August, where you're not getting paid, right? I mean,
or
I hate to
to
say it.
those of us who own a website dedicated to Republican primaries, that it is better for our
Right. And the television the ad contracts and that. So look, it benefits a lot of people with the late primaries, but here in Florida, of course, we've got a big gubernatorial race and some other races, but we'll just want to keep an eye on those things. I won't ask you to give us I won't put you on the spot there, Stephen. But of course, maybe you'll have some interest in going tomorrow. We'll see if we can make that happen.
Absolutely. But before I do, I just want to give another little beacon of hope here.
Sure.
One second. Let me make sure we're doing this right.
We just got a few minutes left here. There we go.
And so we have a little bit of hope here on Calshi with the Florida gubernatorial race. So it looks like that's where the good people are, and that might be why President Trump is heading to
My mouth open going.
Florida.
Okay, so that's Calshi telling us that the Republicans are expected to take the state for governor.
Yes, and who do we like? We like, and I think you both.
Byron Donalds.
Byron Donalds, I love it.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, what an absolute man. Love
right?
That. And his whole family. Love the family.
Right. Well, we appreciate it, Stephen, coming on. I know it was last minute. I texted you just minutes before the show, but we really appreciate it. Not sure if Raleigh's there in person, but the audience.
He's out for a walk right now.
With who?
Let me see if I can go find him, though. Let me.
All right. Well, we'll hop off. We'll bring you back on if you bring Raleigh on. Thank you, Stephen, for checking in on or giving us your input on Michigan and Florida. We want to start doing more of this, having people come in quickly, give us a quick rundown, especially we get closer to these elections. Dr. Maria, what do you want to tell us about New Hampshire? We don't have to give a deep dive here. I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but give us an update.
The country about New Hampshire because they've been showing a blue map of the Northeast because of all of this redistricting talk and gerrymandering. They're like, what's going on in the Northeast? There's not one Republican represented in Congress or in the Senate.
Yeah.
My state is conservative. And I know it's going to be easy to tell you why. We have a Republican House. We have a Republican Senate. We divide up our state and an executive council oversees the landmass, the people in that landmass. That's Republican. Our governor is Republican. So you may say, Dr. Maria, how the hell in your only 4 congressional team members are all Democrats? And I'll tell you, we have so many colleges and we have an Ivy League college, Dartmouth. They all lean very left, especially Dartmouth. So our Constitution, New Hampshire's Constitution says if you reside within New Hampshire, which technically if you're there for college, you're even if you don't intend to stay, you're residing there, you're allowed to vote. They don't care about our state stuff. They only know the federal names and who's running, and they skew what we the people want in New Hampshire. I'm telling you, for decades, I've been talking, because I'm very, very close as a hospital CEO. You always worked with your governor and people in the House or the Senate inside New Hampshire. And we've talked and talked about this, that this is not a reflection of New Hampshire, but nobody wants to challenge or rewrite or amend anything in our Constitution. That's a huge deal. It's, our Constitution predates the United States Constitution. So it's just something nobody's had the political fortitude to challenge. So here's my ask of TPA USA. Is that or is it
TP USA?
Yeah. All right. I understand it's for the younger people to educate them on Republican values. Please, I know I am a small state, 1.2, 1.4 million people. That's it. Go to Dartmouth, do some speeches, do some education, go to UNH, University of New Hampshire, go to Plymouth State. We kind of have narrowed it down to two, because we have a lot of private schools too. Wealthy people fly in from Switzerland, all these other places to go to school. But we've kind of pinpointed to Dartmouth and Plymouth State College. Those two areas really skew our elections. Now, if somebody was really making residence within New Hampshire and plan to stay and do their career, I have no problem. They should vote. And even if they voted what I don't want, I want them to vote. But the fact is, they're there usually for 4 years and they leave. They have no intention. We have a really bad young people out migration in New Hampshire. So that's where we have an issue, because they have no intention to stay in our state, but they're screwing we the people. So everybody, commentators, Fox News, Newsmax, MSNBC, CNN, New Hampshire is a conservative state. And we kind of really poke fun of the socialist state, Vermont, who tax their people crazy. In Maine, now I grew up when Vermont was very conservative, New Hampshire was conservative, and Maine was conservative. What hurts Maine is Bangor and Portland, where they have they're the biggest populations, only in 2 cities. And they are left leaning. All the other places of Maine, pretty big landmass state, they're all conservative, but they do. That's why we need to keep the Electoral College, because really rural people would be screwed. But that's my little nutshell. Chris Pappas, who has a very popular family restaurant in New Hampshire. You've eaten there before. The chicken fingers are delicious. Yep. It's called the Back Room. The Puritan ice cream is great. It's a staple in New Hampshire. All presidential candidates stop there.
Raleigh loves.
There's Raleigh.
Raleigh's been there as well many times.
Yes.
And we love New Hampshire and farms and good people, and
we'll be up there this summer, and they're going to have some big races, and of course the presidential. It's where we're always. I feel like we're always in presidential campaign season nowadays, especially in New Hampshire, and so we'll have. Spending all this time up there these last few years, Stephen, myself, of course, Dr. Maria, who's from there, we're well positioned to help some of these future potential candidates, right? We know that state better than anybody.
I don't really know who, Chris Pappas, I was saying, held the congressional 1. That's my district where I live.
Right.
And tends to be a conservative district, but Pappas has been in the seat. I think if he ran again, he'd win it. But he's decided to go for the Senate. And who else has declared for the Senate? We have 2 seats, only one is up, is Scott Brown, who's been rejected before. People look at him like really a Massachusetts person. And then John Sununu, who was a congressman prior. But people are kind of sick of the Sununu name.
Right.
We've had you all remember, chief of staff under the first Bush 41, was a Sununu from New Hampshire. He was our governor. And then governor for quite a long time was his son, John Sununu. And then now John E. Sununu is running for Senate. So we'll see. Oh, you know who else I think is going to run? Another Democrat is Jean Shaheen's daughter.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, she's farther left than her mom. Her mom, Jean Shaheen, was a governor in my state. So was it Maggie Hassan? They had to govern from the middle because we don't have really a lefty wing in my state.
Right.
So even though they were Democrats, you wouldn't know it. I grew up, you didn't know the difference between a Democrat and Republican.
Right.
So definitely Maggie Hassan and Jean Shaheen changed.
Well, those were different times. Those were different times.
That was ages ago.
No.
You hear that all over the place when congressmen lived in DC and they had to go to, their kids went to the same schools and a little more collegial. And now we've gotten a little more polarized. But
that's a good point. Well,
that's what Raleigh was telling me just now. Anyway,
Raleigh's looking very healthy there. Really, he's got some meat on his bones.
Looking fat. Yeah, he's been eating a lot. He's been eating a lot here.
Well, that's good.
Right,
that's a good thing.
That's
a good thing. Well, we appreciate it, Stephen, Raleigh. Thanks for joining us on short notice.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll touch base tomorrow Stephen, with you on the President Trump at the Villages, which you both seem to be very surprised about. I think it makes sense.
Facebook, they have the link for tickets. It has the link. Some guy, party chair, Evan. Somebody.
Maybe he's making some money off those tickets. Who knows? Well, Doctor,
I'll give you the last words, Ted, as we go off. Please have Mayor Giuliani. He will be fine, but have him in your prayers. Please support the man. He is just such a kind and giving person, and just wish him your best.
And thank you, Doctor, for joining me and saving our ratings for the night. Without you, I don't want to know what would have happened. So, thank you very much. So we'll close this up real briefly. Again, as the doctor alluded to, I just want to give another shout out to Mayor Rudy Giuliani, of course, America's mayor, a man who has dedicated his entire life to public service, right? Going back decades. And I'm going to miss a lot here, but this is the man that took down the mafia. He took down the biggest cheats on Wall Street. He put in prison corrupt members of Congress. He cleaned up, of course, as mayor, he cleaned up the city of New York, put hundreds of thousands of people back to work that weren't working, cleaned up the streets, fixed Times Square, supported the police department, the fire department. And he's given a lot of credit, even from Democrats, for what he did to save our largest city, of course, right? New York City. And beyond that, of course, he comforted not just the nation, but the entire world following the terrible, tragic terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001. And following his time as mayor, he went on to help countless, and I mean that, countless organizations, foreign countries, people with their safety and security. Of course, beyond that, he's done so much from a charitable standpoint, and supporting, of course, this president coming up now to more recent times, defending the rule of law in this country, standing up for free and fair elections, maybe more than anybody, right? And he definitely took some arrows for that, as we all know. And of course, he comes to you every night, multiple hours a day, to give you the latest and his perspective, right? His expert perspective and view on the news of the day. So we are grateful and privileged for every day we get with this man. I'm sure I speak for a lot of you when I say that we very much look forward to these few hours each night. It really is the fastest hour on the internet, as we like to say. The mayor will be fine. We expect to have him back tomorrow. But I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way I do. This is one great American patriot, truly a national treasure, and a man who's, we are just so grateful for his life and his dedication to serving others, right? I'm going to paraphrase a little bit here, but the mayor talks about that, right? How, if you truly love your fellow man, you serve your fellow man and you do good for him. And he certainly dedicated his life to that and continues to, right? And you guys know what I know about him. He's not motivated by money. He's not motivated by fame and fortune. He's motivated by being a good man and doing the right thing and giving back. And so we're blessed to have him. I'm blessed to be a part of his life and Dr. Maria's life. And we know you feel the same way. So we'll see you again tomorrow night, 7 p.m. for the Rudy Giuliani Show on Lindell TV. And then, of course, 8 o'clock right here on X, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you're watching us tonight for America's Mayor Live. As the mayor always says, we're going to end on his words. God bless America.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given